This is a $15,000 compressor, and most everyone is wrong about it. We've all seen the famed Blue Stripe 1176. It's one of the most famous and widely used plugins, and obviously one of the most iconic compressors in all of history. The number of companies out there making clones of the Blue Stripe 1176 is absolutely crazy. If I was to run a poll right now and ask you what revision 1176 this is, 99.9% of you would say revision A. All the Blue Stripe plugins are called a revision A, all the clones are called a revision A, anything with a blue stripe on it people call a revision A. But that's not entirely accurate. The origin of the Blue Stripe 1176 dates back to June 20th, 1967. This was the revision A, the very first. It used an FET in a voltage divider configuration for gain reduction, which was the first of its kind in the world. This revision A Blue Stripe 1176, however, was only serial number 101 through 125. So that means there were only 25 Blue Stripe revision A's ever made in history. It's hard to say how many of those are left, but it certainly can't be many. The next revision, revision AB, came on November 20th, 1967. These serial numbers were from 125 to 216. Now, revision AB was also housed in a Blue Stripe 1176 housing with very little or no physical changes from the outside. It did, however, get several changed resistor values in the signal preamp stages that improved stability as well as noise, and the circuit added a bypass cap around the resistor feeding the gain reduction FET to improve stability. What is sitting right in front of me obviously is a famed Blue Stripe compressor. However, this is a revision B 1176. Now, while we're not sure what year the revision B came out, what we do know is it's from serial numbers 217 to 1078. There were a few more changes inside the revision B 1176. However, here is where most people are wrong about this. There were only 25 revision A's ever made in all of history. And if my math is correct, there were only 91 revision A B's ever made in all of history. However, there were 861 models of the revision B Blue Stripe 1176 made. This was the last revision to have the blue stripe on the front of it, as the next revision would become a blackface. But nearly all the famous records that you've ever heard that had a Blue Stripe 1176 used on it, nearly all the people that have talked about their Blue Stripe and doubled down about how it's the greatest 1176 ever, they're likely not talking about a revision A, as almost none of them were produced. Nearly every famous Blue Stripe example that we know of that you have seen in the wild, out in public, was a revision B Blue Stripe 1176. So when you buy a copy of a revision A Blue Stripe 1176 from someone making copies or replicas, what you need to check on is if it's actually revision A, or if they're calling it revision A while the circuitry is actually revision B. Because if you're going after the true Blue Stripe 1176 sound that you think you know, you're actually looking for a revision B, not a revision A. It's not to say the revision A's don't sound incredible. It's not to say anyone making copies aren't doing incredible jobs at it. But everyone thinks they're going after the revision A, but in reality, you're probably looking for a revision B. And no one ever talks about it. What does a $15,000 Blue Stripe 1176 sound like, you might ask? Well, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned, because the very next video, we're gonna do the ultimate 1176 shootout, comparing this vintage revision B Blue Stripe 1176 to a vintage blackface revision F 1176 compared to a current production brand new Universal Audio 1176, and compared to the Universal Audio plugins, including the Blue Stripe. This is gonna be really fun. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.